so numb.
Yeah, so like a big element that drives the verses is the bass line.
Which you started off with, which we've never done before, just starting off with that slap bass part to intro the song.
Yeah. I would definitely say we overthink how we should start songs almost every single time we write a song. Because there's like, I don't know.
Do you go do you start right off with the verse? Do you do an intro? Do you go chorus? Do you go soft chorus?
Yeah.
And then that way the second chorus hits hard?
Pretty much every time we've done something, we're like, no, we've done that in another song before, so we're not going to intro like that. And this was something where we literally had never started a song with just bass.
To which Megan, my sister, swear she actually said, sounds like Seinfeld. And I was like, that's not what we're going for.
Here's slap bass, immediately
Seinfeld.
Immediately relates it to Seinfeld. But yeah, we've got some other stuff going on there too. Actually, the very first like percussive thing that you hear is literally my camera flashing, because the first line is camera flashing, and so I legitimately went in and captured my Sony A7 III, which is not even a traditional camera. Like, the flashes aren't that loud, like the way that the shutter closes is really not that loud, but I took a bunch of takes of them and just added a bunch of reverb, literally called camera flash. So yeah, I kind of offset them too, so they're not all playing at the same time. It helps the flash kind of seem wider and longer and whatnot. So
plus that kind of goes with the whole the element of like being on stage, because like one of the things that you'll hear like from our perspective when we're playing a show, you know, you see the camera flashes, and sometimes like if it's like dead silent like between songs, you'll hear people
yeah.
So that definitely helps tell the story.
Let's see. Yeah, there's really like not much else going on in here. My sessions are usually like color coded per section, so it's easier to jump around because there's like 132 tracks in this song, which some of them are like doubles and stuff, which we do a lot, but the vocals are like blue, so you can see like Adam's vocal in the verse is literally just his vocal and some reverb.
Camera flash and say hello.
Then we got some trendy pitch shifts going on. Oh yeah, and I guess something else we do is the vocoders come in and out on the verses. So like almost every other line, you'll hear this come in the background.
Those harmonies make everything sound a lot more like smooth. We've tried doing verses where it was like more natural harmonies, but sometimes it sounded like forced and like not quite the right vibe. So this kind of gives it like an electronica sound to it. Yeah,
like we love our Mariana's Trench, but sometimes just stacking harmonies for the sake of stacking harmonies feels a little forced, like Adam said, and doing them on vocoders is kind of just like a modern approach and a lazy approach to get that done. So
yeah, I don't have Josh Ramsey's talent, so I'm not stacking all those vocals. I also don't have that patience.
Yeah. So then, yeah, the pre-chorus really mellows out. The only thing that's happening is just the bass doing some staccato things. I'll actually just mute the vocal really quick. You can hear what music's going on. Hear the important stuff.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, Super Bear.
Yeah, Super Bear. And something I wanted to do here was kind of what they do a lot in the 80s, where the bass is kind of playing its own thing, which in this sense it's just playing one single note. But in a lot of 80s songs, there'll be like this dedicated like riff that a bass or a guitar would play, but then the synths like change chords around it, so there's still movement, so you can still like move things along, but like, so yeah, in some senses like the bass is clashing with the synth, but it actually helps give it some color and make it.
Yeah, I mean, especially like with those chord changes too, like the bass is playing one thing, but also my vocal is pretty staccato as well, so there really needed to be movement.
Yeah.
Like light slow, I should go home. It's very nothing's really drawn out.
Honestly, yeah, that since the vocal was so like syncopated, it was kind of important to keep the instrumentation simple, just to let the vocal shine through. So I think that kind of worked pretty well.
I think that's the thing that we've learned a lot writing more like pop music, is that like when something's more melody driven, and by that I mean like you said, like the syncopated rhythms, I think I would say like a couple years ago, if we were writing music like this, we probably would have tried to make everything follow the vocals a little bit too much, and it would sound like hectic. Whereas now we're like, hey, this sounds really cool, but it's not going to fit with this song, so we're going to pocket that and save it for later. And our goal has been to actually tell the story through music a little bit more. And I think that's the biggest improvement that I've seen since we started the Farside, especially, is being able to have like a cohesive song instead of sections of songs that have blatant like awkward transitions.
Yeah, we've definitely had to learn to sit aside ideas, which even if it's a cool idea, if it doesn't fit the context or if it's just too much, we still gotta scrap it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, how does it serve the song? If it doesn't, then it shouldn't get added. So okay, so take it, maybe play like the verse into the pre-chorus to hear that all.
Yeah.
Camera flash and say hello. Baby, you're used to keep me so numb, but I'm coming down from my to blast the arrow into my thumb. Lights low, I should go home. Can't look up from my phone, I'm calling. I'm falling over you.
I'm cutting it right before that because we've talked about this part a lot, that like sarcastic sigh. So Aaron had the idea to do this to lead into the chorus, and it was basically just like I don't even know what you would call it. It was just like an exhale with a bunch of reverb on it. Sounded sweet.
Actually, I can pull it up too.
Okay. So while you're pulling that up, so we loved it. We loved how it sounded. And then at the end, when we got like the whole demo finished, I told Aaron, I was like, as much as I really like that sound, I think it would serve the song a little bit better if we kind of changed the tone of it from being like a to ugh. Like, so it's like that disgusting feeling of ugh, why did I text that person? Yeah. And so you said you had the original one.
Yeah, I remember I was just being like an idiot and like doing some percussive, and we were going. My original idea, actually, let me just pull that one up because that one's way more ridiculous. The idea I had was it was gonna swell up with some harmonies, so very like inspired by Mariner's Trench, and they do a lot of like percussive elements with their voice too, like Celebrity Status does the whole like thing in the background. So originally it was going to be like stacked harmonies that built on themselves, and I built it to a really weird chord, and it resolved with and we ended up scrapping that whole idea, but we can play it for you just to see.
Yeah, and it sounded trenchy, Mariana's trenchy, but it also kind of sounded like something you might hear in like If I'm Being Honest. Yeah. So like another thing that we've been trying to do is, there has, how would I say this? We don't want every song to sound exactly the same, but it's nice to pull elements from each song to kind of have like a sound. Mm-hmm. So like those stacked harmonies were something that we were going for, but we, again, now that we're a little wiser, we're like, okay, we're not going to force it.
Yeah, so this was the original. I don't know if this is the right spot. Yeah.
I'm falling over you. I don't know who I am, can get me right. I don't know.
That original demo, it was really bare. But fun fact, the original demo vocals that are on this are the same vocals I used for the final thing. I redid some ad-libs at the end, but yeah, it was literally the same demo. And I don't think we added we didn't have the Kangs. This is not what I planned alone at night. I don't know who I am in the park. This was almost just too mellow for what we were wanting to do.
It was like it was almost there, but something was missing. There was still like a little emptiness to it.
Yeah, we definitely made it through a lot of passes, but that was kind of how it originally sounded.
So let's go from the end of the pre-chorus into the whole chorus then we jump with the chorus, I guess.
Yeah.
Up from my phone, I'm calling. I'm falling over you. I don't know who I am, can't get me right. I don't know who I am when the dark gets closer. This is not what I planned alone at night. I don't know who I am when the party's over. When the party's over.
Okay, so wait, random thing. During that sax part, I was not sure if I liked the fact that you could hear my voice quiver at the end of the falsetto part, but it kind of is growing on me a little bit because it kind of, I don't know, when everything sounds so produced, not like in a bad way, but like there's a little bit of raw, like, okay, my voice really did flutter there.
I mean, I liked it because whenever I did the demo ones, like whenever you came to record your final vocals for it, that went over top of like my rough, because I did the falsetto things in the rough demo. I thought the little quiver added extra character, and like the way you delivered the falsetto was a little bit breathier than mine, which helped it kind of sit in that spacey pocket. Because I think mine,
which also helps, I think that sax cut through a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
Singing it, like sometimes singing things more forward, and that's another thing that I've really tried hard to not over sing, because like before I always felt like I got to do everything like loud and proud, and it actually serves the song a lot better to pull back sometimes. So like singing that one really breathy and like, I don't know,
being
like,
more mature about your vocal delivery, I guess, kind of saving it for creating moments and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But the original demo we had wasn't a sax, like it's basically a descending pentatonic scale type of thing. But I just did it on a guitar for the demo. Wasn't really sure if we did it on sax, but I also had my scratch falsetto vocals in there, which were just a little bit more sterile versus like Adam's delivery of it.
Closer, I don't know who I am when the party's over. When the party's over.
I still really think it sounds sweet. It sounded weird because we knew we wanted to incorporate sax in the song somewhere, and like that sax solo was an idea we had, and it wouldn't have sounded right going from a guitar interlude straight into a sax solo, which is one of the reasons why we decided to replace it with the saxophone.
I spent a few weeks after we decided we want to go the saxophone route, which we had toyed with some saxophone and Wait for It as well, which was just a nightmare and a half. We were really just trying to inject that into the song, which I think it really kind of fit the vibe we were going for this. So I spent a few weeks actually like trying to get better at sax again. And these sax tracks are stacked. We literally have
Tracks stacked.
Well, I double mic'd it, so there's only actually 3 takes. So I basically did one take on hard left, hard right, and one in the center, and that helps kind of chorus everything together and make it blend a little better.
Worship.
Yeah, so that was I was kind of, I'm definitely not a experience, like I could not go and like just jam out with people. Like I'm definitely more of like, all right, let's write a part down, I'll rehearse it. I just played in marching band.
You're Tyson Ritter on piano.
Exactly. So yeah, it's not like I'm an expert sax, but I mean if we get something down, I'll commit to learning it. So that was fun.
Just more than I can say I do.
Yeah, we demoed this with a plugin called Sensual Sax, which you can get for Contact, like the
no
synth.
free ads.
No free. It's a $12 synth, so it's not that expensive, but Contact's expensive. Anyway, yeah, so we demoed a little bit of that with Contact and stuff, but definitely wanted the real thing for the final. So that's kind of fun. But you can still hear. We were talking about the guitar riff. The guitar riff's still in there, I think. I don't think
you kind of buried it, just like
actually
for
I might have
texture,
removed it.
right?
I might have removed it.
I remember you telling me you were toying with the idea of keeping it in there just for like a texture thing.
Yeah, I have a synth that follows it, and then everything's kind of getting sent to reverb.
Okay, so play that again.
Okay.
There's the synth. So the thing that I think is funny about going through the files like this is I don't realize I hear that, and on its own it sounds really corny and stupid. But honestly, when you put it in with everything else, it's really funny how it just makes things pop.
It's literally there, like from a production standpoint, I literally put it there just to support the sax and it literally gives it this high-end sizzle. So you can't really even identify it as a synth because the sax there's a little bit of a rasp in the sax, so you kind of almost think it's just some overtones. But definitely there. I don't know what else. This is a little hidden thing behind that I don't even know if you could ever hear.
Where is that?
It's literally the second half of the chorus.
No,
so
it's not.
The first half.
It's not.
I don't know who I am, can't get me right. I don't know who I am when the dark gets closer. This is not what I planned alone at night.
Oh my gosh. You really have to listen for it.
And you can hear it a little bit.
When everything breaks for that split second, you can hear
Just for like 2 seconds.
I didn't even realize that.
Subtle. It just gives it a high-end sparkle again. I don't know. Just kind of
Polish
that.
it off.
Yeah, so that's the chorus and the post-chorus that we kind of visit a lot. A lot of textures to it. So I got some kangs. The guitars that come in the second half are literally just these big things that, like big chord hits. As you can see, they're labeled kangs in the thing, and that's an inside joke that you're just gonna have to go follow the night game to figure out what that means. So yeah, by themselves, they're kind of weak, pretty thin. And then I also do the same thing where I supported it with a synth, so you kind of get a little bit extra of fizzliness. So the combination
that also sounds like overly happy, which I think is one of the things. Yeah, it's one of the things that I wrote about in the the blog portion about how this song really kind of danced on the line of somewhere between being really sad and being happy, and that's what we were going for. And like these are the little things that like you feel whenever you hear this song, but you don't know why. It's just kind of there. There's like intention behind all of it, which I didn't even know some of this stuff was in there either. So like I'm learning too.
Yep. I'll go through things where I'll work on a huge chunk of the music at a time and then send it to him. So like he'll come, like I'll have added like 60 new things to the song and then I send it to him and he'll probably only pick up on like 10 of them.
Yeah.
But it's, it's subtle.
And most of the time, like my response will be just like, really good, want to change this part though. And you're just like, cool, man. Like,
yeah, it's like I honestly forgot that section was there, but yeah, we'll revisit that. And literally the combination of adding just the guitar and then having that synth behind it was like the difference of, okay, that's cool, but now it's like, oh, this is almost retro sounding. Where once you add that synth in, it's got like still like that 80s
somewhere between like 80s and modern pop and all coming together.
Yeah. So anyway, I could talk about I could literally talk about these synths for hours, but.
The TV used to keep me so blind, 'cause I'd rather fall asleep in color than in black and white inside of my mind. Lights low while I go.
From a like instrumental standpoint, we pretty much did the same thing from first verse to second verse because I kind of wanted to keep it continuous, but there's a little bit more of like a spatial element to it. I think I cued in a different reverb for this, so like it still feels the same in the sense of like, yeah, the same chords are happening and stuff, but the space changes a little bit. This thing, I just called it Moog bass in the session, but it kind of adds a little bounce to the bass, which it's already kind of bouncy, but yeah, it kind of just reminded me of like the, again, 80s Moog synthesizer, and that has like that envelope on the bass that makes it go like, ow, that kind of thing. So, and then kind of paired that with the real bass. It's so subtle, like I have it negative 20 dB. It's literally just adding a little bit of like a wow, like a Owen Wilson.
Wow.
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 So, it's subtle, but.
So usually whenever we're like going from a chorus back into a second verse, we're trying to think of ways to enhance the verse a little bit more. And for this one especially, like you said, we didn't do a whole lot different, but I think it actually kind of plays into what the song really is about. Like we bounce things off the lyrics a whole bunch. The first line says reruns blur into each other. The TV used to keep me so numb or so blind. Dang it. So we always like to try to bounce the music off of what we're talking about lyrically. The first lyric says reruns blur into each other. And so like from a songwriting aspect, I was imagining like, 2 a.m. you're watching Friends on Nick at Night over and over and over and over again for like almost like a form of therapy.
Come on, it's 2020. Friends on Netflix.
Friends isn't on Netflix anymore.
Is it not?
They took it off.
Wow, I'm clearly not up to date.
They put it on Nick at Night after they took it off Netflix. I think.
It on Nick at Night. That's a TV network. Is there there's...
Nick at Night started playing it after it went on. Yeah,
I got you.
Which is a smart move by them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like reruns blur into each other. It kind of by keeping this verse pretty similar as the second one, it actually kind of plays in with the fact that you're like, I've kind of heard this before. You're still building like really, really subtly, but I think doing too much to it would have taken away from that like familiarity that I was trying to explain in the lyrics.
We also have this cool little guitar ambient thing that happens in the verses that I guess I didn't talk about in the first verse, but so we'll play the second pre-chorus, and it has a couple new elements that come into it.
Lights low, but I go home. No friends checking their phones. I'm calling over you.
Yeah, there was actually a lot going on in that second pre-chorus.
So lyrically, okay, you'll notice that I say something a little bit differently. I like doing that in songs too, just to keep people on their toes, so it's not too much of the same thing over and over. So this time, it's lights low, why'd I go home? No friends checking their phones. So it's like now you're at the point where you're bored, it's really late at night, and you're texting everyone you know, but no one's answering because they're all asleep. So it kind of gives a little bit of a different meaning to the song. Says like, I'm falling over you. Now can be interpreted as the like, I'm just like bothering my friends.
Yeah, I'm gonna take out the, let's say, I guess just the vocals so you can hear like the music. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, I introduced that guitar riff that I don't even know where it came from. I just kind of was trying to add something different, a little bit more percussive, and like from a guitar part. So,
and again, because my vocal delivery here is again super staccato, so you have to have something to like dance around it.
Yeah. And I think I did the same thing where I paired that guitar riff with a synth. Let me jump to my synths. I got this little guy in here.
Almost sounds like an organ.
Probably is. Yeah, and then I pitched literally every single track that was playing something. I pitch shifted down to resolve into the thing. So literally just continuing to add elements as we go along, and not for the sake of adding them, a little bit for the sake of adding them, but like it just keeps things interesting and keeps things cool as we're going along.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that we learned from the more songs that we've started to write. Like you don't want to keep digesting the same information over and over again.
Yeah.
Even if it sounds cool, it's surprising how many times you'd get tired of it. And like you might be thinking like for a certain chorus, like, oh, you just keep it as is, but actually every chorus you hear is going to have something different that like there's a different feeling to it, even if you don't necessarily pick it out. So
yeah, and we'll listen to the chorus and we'll talk about some of the stuff we continue to build in.
I don't know who I am, can't get me right. I don't know who I am when the dark gets closer. This is not what I planned alone at night. I don't know who I am when the party's over.
we started incorporating right after the chorus live drums, which I say with air quotes because a lot of our stuff is virtual instruments, but we like had the idea of like an actual drum kit to come in. Beforehand, we had all just sample drums, like this deep dance kick, and
the hi-hat sounds really electric.
Yeah, like I'll jump up to the percussion. So I have like my pretty much anything that's electronic. I had like e-kick and all that kind of stuff, e-toms. So like beforehand, all we had was like this.
This obviously sounds like 80s AF. And I think when you switch to the live drums, this is what Aaron meant earlier when we said that we want to still keep the aspect of this being a full band sound. So him switching to the live drums here was able to help set up a part of this song that's going to be way more in your face. So like it's going to be a completely different sound than the beginning of this song.
Yeah. And so I literally like I don't just get rid of the dance stuff or like the electronic. I keep it. I literally just add the drums on top with good mix decisions. I wasn't overstacking and muddying up stuff. I still made sure it was all clear. But yeah, you can hear everything come in with like this tom fill. Yeah, so like I full on went like traditional drum kit like processing style. So let me just solo like I have the close mics from the virtual instrument, but like the rooms are what really help. The rooms and overheads help give it the authentic like live sound. Which I'm using Slate SSD5, pretty authentic sounds that they sample, so we're still able to get a pretty raw feel.
Question here. So I can't remember, is the post-chorus here extended from the first time?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I feel like the reason for doing that was because you're introducing this new element. Let's play it again and get people used to this new like the raw feel, because it's going to lead into this solo part, and it's like the rockiest part of this song.
Yeah.
If we would have gone straight from that electronic part, or even if we would have gone into this like post-chorus with the new drums and just played it once, we might not have gotten used to that space yet.
Yeah,
so
definitely we kind of had to get your ears used to hearing the live drums,
because it really builds anticipation. Like when the real drums like click in, me as a listener, I'm thinking something is coming here, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna keep listening, and that's kind of at least my goal. And I mean, I know it's yours too. It's our goal when we start piecing these songs together, and that's kind of what we mean by making sure that these songs are cohesive and help tell a story, because the lyrics might tell a specific story, but if the sounds aren't like moving along with it, then it gets kind of stale.
For sure. Something we haven't given any love to yet is all my synth basses that I have in the choruses as well, which is actually a big element that might sound like a guitar, but it's actually some synth basses from, I believe it's Omnisphere is what I used to.
Side Fuzz, I call band name.
Yeah, Side Fuzz and Pluck are my two bass elements, and they're both from Omnisphere, and I think Adam even told me when I sent him the first master of the song, he's like, dude, that fuzz is way too loud.
Yeah.
So, I cut that back.
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, so this is what that is.
Sounds super cool in the mix, but like Aaron was saying, the first time he put it in there, what I felt like it was doing, because it was too loud, it was almost like TV static over something in the background, and I was trying to pick out the other parts of the song and I couldn't quite do it. But all it took was for him to turn that down a little bit, and all of a sudden this is in like a really cool spot in the mix.
So now we have worked our way up to
best part of the song,
the one take saxophone solo. that section is pretty cool.
This section, I think, is where most people that hear the song for the first time, this is the section that they usually point to. I know, like the people that I've shown this song to, maybe right before we released it, just trying to get some feelers out there. Hey, you know, what works in the song, what doesn't? The first thing they usually say is that transition from the chorus to that saxophone solo, that stop is so unexpected, but it just makes that sax pop because you think it's done at the end of that post-chorus because the first time through it was done.
Yeah.
And so now when you're extending it, you stop it and then hit it again. It's a really cool transition.
Let's take a listen to just the solo by itself. The one take solo that I definitely did immediately. It was crazy. Crazy when you hear saxophone by itself. Some of it actually kind of sounds bad. Like to do like rasping on a saxophone, you actually have to hum into the saxophone, and the way it rasps is you have to hum a different note than what you're playing, like to the point where it clashes. And that's like physically how you make a saxophone rasp. So there's like moments in there where you can hear me pretty much grunting into a saxophone, which we're not going to play it again, but that's what you have to do to get rasp, and definitely not an expert at it, but I got it in one take, so we're moving on.
Before Adam asks any questions, right?
So the bridge, this bridge is like definitely the biggest moment of the song thus far. I would argue that the last chorus might be bigger, maybe not.
Yeah, because we're also ad-libbing a lot. Vocally, we're showing a little bit more range.
Yeah.
So the thing that I like about this bridge specifically, and I don't know if it was something that I outwardly said to you whenever we were writing it, but lyrically it's pretty depressing. And I didn't want the song to like take too much of a nosedive into depression land.
Yeah.
So it was really important that there was still an element of fun with it. And I think you did a good job of of kind of creating some happy vibes around some pretty deep conversations.
Yep. Let me. I'm trying to pull up the vocal. Okay. So we'll see that.
Story about the vocal take, the part where I take when I start belting, so the me and my devices, we didn't have it, like we only had a bridge written up to that point, and I think Aaron gave me a note. He's like, why don't you just try belting here? So I did, and the rest of it was me completely improvising. So like I think I remember we did it and you were just like, yeah, that's it, can you do that again? And I'm like, I have no clue what I just sang. And so then we had to like piece together what I had improv before.
Yeah, I actually remember now the melody idea that we had for the bridge. We originally wrote as a saxophone solo. Let me pull it up. I'm pretty sure we have it somewhere in here. This was our demo, which was the solo, the sax solo, which we ended up using as the melody, because it didn't really fit as sax, and this is literally just our plug-in. So yeah, it's like almost like the main idea.
Yeah, it's definitely we wouldn't have released that. It was just you get the main idea of what you're trying to like aim for.
Yeah.
But so all we had was da 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 da, and then I was like, I don't know where to go with the rest of this, Aaron. And like I said, he gave me the idea for that May. That was not the note.
Yeah.
My devices will stay where they land.
So yeah, kind of cool. Get that nice reverb back there. something else I completely brushed over. The bass goes ham in the bridge, which you don't even hear it really.
Not really.
Hold on. I mean, granted, like you can see all my chopped up takes because what I usually do is I'll just record like a bunch of ideas and then I piece together like my favorite parts of all those pieces. So that's why it's kind of a chopped up mess.
Oh, we can't play our songs live.
Yeah. But and also I'm super OCD about like how a note sounds. So like if it sounded all right, I'll do it again and just piece in like the perfect moment so it's like just right. I'm a little OCD. But
which I think is an archetype of somebody in your position.
Yeah.
If you weren't OCD, our music would suck even worse.
Yes. So, check this out. I'm just going to do bass and drums so you can hear what the bass is doing. Just does that. Like, the whole bridge just does that, which it's not even like meant to be noticeable. It's just there because I was having fun with it. So,
more fun here with the build.
I'm trying to think. The transition back to the final chorus was something I struggled with from like a production standpoint. I didn't really know how to do it. We had some ideas. We essentially just did a stripped chorus that kind of built up, and then
it felt like a cop out because we felt like we were just doing it because that's what the song should do. Like, not that it should do, but like a lot of times in pop music, you'll see like a bridge is basically just a chorus that's played on keys or like something really really mellow.
So we literally like, I don't know, I just threw a bunch of stuff at it, and I think this was by the time we submitted it to distribution, I had recorded my final vocals like the week before. And then I like mixed it and mastered it that week. So like it was really last minute. This was literally the last thing I was doing on the song was this section. But we'll listen to that. Yeah, so
Aaron pulled out that belted note out of nowhere because he just hasn't done that yet in a song. And I was just like, wait, what? It sounds so good.
Yeah, I'm sure like if I didn't do that, people were like, oh, he's like the low singing guy. He's the one that sings like low.
Yeah, Aaron balls out here.
Yeah, and we also have like a bunch of other well, I bring back that riff that we had in the pre-chorus. It's kind of sitting in the background. So that's kind of cool. Kind of like calling back to something earlier so we have something familiar to anchor to. And then we have this guy, which I enjoy. Yeah. That's one of my... So, yeah, there's a lot of things we do, or I did in the beginning of, like, the production of this section where, like, it starts out very narrow. Originally, it was just I was gonna sing the same melody for the chorus, but it didn't really make anything special about it. Like, it's like, okay, we're just hearing you play the same thing over again. Having that new element really just kind of catches you by surprise. So it's like, when the dawn gets closer. So yeah, it kind of lives pretty cool. And then at this point is the final chorus where we really like to do a lot of ad-libbing when it comes to a final chorus.
Because it's the most fun.
Yeah, like,
and eventually we'll probably have songs where we don't do it because then it's gonna seem like a trope.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's just there's so much energy in this last part that we wanted to have fun with it. So you can see there's a lot of vocals, and there's actually like 2 extra guitar parts that get added in. So we'll play that. This is not what I planned. I don't know who I am when the party's over. I don't know who I am. You can't get me right. I don't know who I am when the dawn gets closer. This is not what I planned. I don't know who I am when the party's over. I'll just do this real quick.
So with that part. So the one thing that I want to talk about is, of course, I want to talk about myself. The part that comes in about halfway through, where you hear the falsetto, I don't know.
It almost sounds like that howl in that Maroon 5 song.
Not intentional.
No.
But okay, so a couple things. Aaron sent me, again, like a week before he had finished the song. He sends it to me again. He's like, hey, look at the bridge, and like all the way through the end of the song. I want some kind of ad lib from you. So like next time you come over to like, we need to record this immediately so we can finish the song. And I thought there for a while, and it's honestly, it's surprising because it came to me in about 10 seconds when I heard all this. But the reason that I did that specifically is because one, I had the falsetto part that we do in the post-chorus, when the party's over, and I wanted to bring back the falsetto again because I knew that this last pre-chorus or post-chorus that we're doing, we took out those falsettos again, so I wanted to have the falsettos back in there as like, again, something familiar but also different. And then I just honestly asked myself, what would Josh Ramsey do? And that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know where you put it in the mix is I think it's only in the left ear.
Yeah.
Thought that was a cool touch too because it's not something that really needs to be too far out in the open. You know, it's something you want to listen for because it's a little obnoxious if it's not like hidden a little bit.
Now let's do my favorite thing I like to do is listen to vocals in synth only. It just sounds amazing. So check this out. You can hear all the vocals in the background that's going on. I'll even put it at the end too because it's got like that, pretty much a screaming in the background.
Yeah.
When the dawn gets closer, this is not what I planned alone at night. I don't know who I am when the party's over. I don't know who I am, can get me right. I don't know who I am when the dawn gets closer. This is not what I planned alone at night. I don't know who I am when the party's over. When the party's over. When the party's over. When the party's over. Can't get me. When the party's over. When the party's over.
So I think it's just pretty sweet. It's like literally vocal heaven. And apparently I had my saxophone classified as a synth in my routing, so that's why you heard the sax at the end. But yeah. So
one more thing to comment on with that post chorus, like I was saying before, I said we were going to get rid of the falsetto. We're going to get rid of the falsetto and we're going to replace it with a belted vocal. Again, it's something you've heard before. We had to think of a way to do it differently now. And so I think because we just came out of this really huge section, now let's belt it out and finish the song, you know, end on a high note.
Faux show.
When the party's over. When the party's over. When the party's over. Can't get me. When the party's over. When the party's over.
Pretty much since the first 2 seconds of the song, there's that kick that's just constantly going. 4 on the floor.
A beat you can't ignore.
So for the final chorus, I just thought that it just sounded too much like it was the same thing. So I was like, what if we had the kick follow what the bass is doing? Because right now, beforehand, it kind of just played back and forth. Like the kick would bounce with the bass, and it was like, why don't we just lock it? Like it's going to be like the super locked groove, and that really kind of helps.
It gives it new life at the end.
Yeah, it makes it like super punchy. And I don't know, kind of just like
So maybe solo that.
Oh yeah,
that
we'll just
kick.
do bass and drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's
assertive.
It's super aggressive, and I like it.
So that's I Don't Know Who I Am. We'd like to do more of these because I think that's really cool to talk about how much thought really goes into like one song specifically. Because I know like my friends have been telling me for the longest time, like, dude, when are you releasing music again? Hey, like, why is it taking so long? And I want to be like, if you don't quite understand how much like work goes into this, and not just on my part, like it's all Aaron, but
yeah, this is why it takes so long right here. If you guys want anything specific that you want to hear about these songs in the future for maybe our next EP, if you have like a specific element of our process that you want to hear about, definitely let us know in the comments. If you even made it this far in the video.
Yeah, if you made it this far.
If you made it this far in the video, please subscribe to our YouTube, because it's definitely going to be on there. I don't know if we'll do IGTV, but it's a possibility we'll put it on there too. So
yeah, might as well.
Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this, and we'll catch you in the next video.